Hello, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and we have Roland Banks sitting in Rivertown. In the last video, that's where he ended up, and we are starting a brand new round. So we're going to follow our round sequence and then get right into it, see what we can accomplish as we look for cultists throughout Arkham. Now, there's a whole bunch of places here that we still have to explore, like the Graveyard, North Side, East Town, South Side, Miskatonic University, and St. Mary's Hospital. So there's lots of places we haven't been, as well as even downtown. So yeah, there's stuff to find and do, but we did, if we remember correctly, do have 2 clue tokens that we were able to manage to grab in the last episode. So we'll be able to use that to actually advance our objective, which is to find as many cultists as possible. And that's perfect because the cultist deck's right there and we can pull those and find out where they are. But we'll start the round off where we're supposed to with the Mythos phase. So the Mythos phase is going to have 1 more Doom added to the Doom agenda. So this is now ticking down. We've got 3 on the Doom track now. As it gets ever closer to 6, there's nothing we have to reveal that way in terms of revealing that agenda deck because we didn't hit 6. Then of course we pull the ever fun encounter card. What do we get? Ooh, Hunting Shadow. Okay, so the Hunting Shadow is a treachery card, and it's a curse, it's a peril, and the revelation says you must either choose 1. You can spend 1 clue or take 2 damage. Okay, so this is kind of nasty. So we got somebody essentially just kind of following us or on our trail essentially, and they don't like us that much. So we're gonna have to make a choice here when we get this type of card as to whether we want to spend a clue or take 2 damage. Now, to be totally honest with you, I don't want to do either, but we do know that we have first aid. So out of all the choices here, and I don't want to lose my clues because I'm just about to reveal a cultist, it's kind of ironic that we found a Hunting Shadow, which is going to try to steal a clue from us, but I'm not going to let him do that. I'm going to take 2 damage instead. We're going to put that on Roland Banks' character and see if we can kind of eat that damage up. So what we're going to end up doing is we played that 2 damage, and now this card has been satisfied. The Hunting Shadow gets discarded. So this is just a nasty treachery card that comes out to kind of screw with us a little bit. But I really don't want to lose those clues, so I'm going to hold on to those. So now we've done the Mythos phase. The investigation phase begins. Now this is where things get fun because right at the top we get our 3 actions, and I have 2 clues. So I'm going to spend those 2 clues right away. We're going to go ahead and grab, I'll grab the act deck so you guys can actually see it up close in terms of what it says. But it says here, the investigators spend 2 clues per investigator, or as a group. 2 clues per investigator as a group, but we're only playing solo, so it's just 2 for us. Draw the top card of the cultist deck. So when we go ahead and do that, we're going to go ahead and find a cultist, and the cultist is going to randomly show up here somewhere in Arkham. We're going to have to pull that off. So we're going to go up here to our deck, pull this over, and we got Ruth Turner. So we found Ruth Turner, and she's going to spawn at the St. Mary's Hospital. So she's going to show up right here in the back when we decide to put her down. She has a forced ability here that says after Ruth Turner is evaded, add her to the victory display. So you can see her evade number there is 5. That's pretty nasty. It's very, very high. But all we have to do in order to unveil her or reveal her as a cultist is to just evade her. We do that, we get this victory point, we get this card, it can go on our victory display, and it's one of the cards we successfully have gathered in terms of finding the cultist. So that's awesome. So we can put this at St. Mary's, and we'll try our best to get over there. So we're going to go ahead and drop that in St. Mary's Hospital here, and now she's awaiting us to show up and do an evade check. Okay, so that costs us 1 action in order to do that based on the symbol on the act card. So that is our first action. Second action would be maybe trying to move, I think, at this point, because we really want to get close to St. Mary's Hospital. So we're going to take a look at what the icons are at the bottom of the card. We got what looks to be a red square and a greenish triangle kind of symbol. So greenish triangle, we'll look at that. We're in Rivertown, and actually Rivertown connects to both of those, let me look at this correctly. There's the plus, my mistake. So it's a plus is where St. Mary's is, and as long as we have that plus, we can get there. Now, sadly, we do not have that plus on the Rivertown location, so we can't get there directly from Rivertown. So we're gonna have to find a way to get there through different routes. So then the question becomes, what other things are attached? Well, we find that the south side here is attached to Rivertown because it's got a square icon. Miskatonic University is the green diamond, and that's attached to Rivertown, so we can go there. So either of those are 2 decent options. We can also kind of go off. I think we can even go, let me see, can we go off to the left here? No, because I think once you go to these other locations over on the left side, none of them connect. No, they don't. None of them connect to St. Mary's University. And I've done this. I've laid this map out in a way that things are kind of tied to each other closely, so it's easier to find things. But essentially, we can go from Rivertown to either Southside or Miskatonic University now, and then on the next turn move to St. Mary's University to go after the Cultist. Now, we still have 2 actions left, so I could choose to even move twice to get there quickly, but I wouldn't have the extra action to evade her. So that would be, and then I'd end up getting hit by her. So it's probably not best to go there just yet, but maybe we can kind of head that way. So the one that gives us the most options in terms of movement seems to be Miskatonic University. Has 4 unlocked symbols in terms of different locations I can go to later, whereas Southside has 3. So I'm going to choose the Miskatonic University. We're going to have Roland Banks. He's going to head on over here to the university, and as soon as we go to a new location, which we've never been to before, we reveal it. So I'm going to read the text on both sides of the card. This one says, Miskatonic University is one of the most prestigious colleges in the Northeast. The university library is famous for its collection of occult books maintained by the esteemed Dr. Henry Armitage. And so we're going to go ahead and unlock this. By doing so, we flip it over. And wow, look at that shroud value. That is nasty. Okay, so it says, as an action, we can search the top 6 cards of your deck for a tome or spell card and add it to your hand. Shuffle your deck. So that's really good for weeding out a card that you might that you have in your deck. 6 cards is quite a bit in order to get something worthwhile into your hand quickly. So we have a clue value of 2 per investigator. So we're going to get 2 clues to find there, which is not bad. So we could even actually find potentially, if we get lucky, we can find. Yeah, that's actually really good because we have 2 clues here we can find. That means that we could almost find another cultist just by resolving all the investigations we could possibly do there. I don't really think I'm going to do the searching of the top 6 cards of your deck. So at this point, we've used 2 actions. We used one to reveal a cultist in the town, and then we've just did one to move to Miskatonic University. So the second thing that I'm probably going to do at this point is going to be probably to investigate, although this shroud value is nasty. So the one thing I might want to think about is potentially boosting my, and this is where things get interesting. Now I could play, I can't even, first aid is going to be useful to getting rid of these damage tokens. I'd like to get rid of those. I'd also like to get Dr. Mylan Christopher out in order to boost my investigation ability. So that would be nice. Getting into a tight spot here. Which one do I want to do first? That's the question. I only have 1 action here, so I can choose either the first aid or Dr. Mylan Christopher. Maybe this turn I will do. This is a really tough one. I think I'll go with him. So I'm gonna play him as an asset card. So we're gonna go ahead. It costs 4 resources, so we're gonna lose 4 resources from our pool. That's going to go back to the container, and now we have access on the body slot here ally slot. I keep calling it body slot. I'm just used to seeing it from the body. But he's got a 1 damage, 2 sanity he can take up before he disappears, and it says we get a boost on our intellect, which is good for searching for clues. And then after we successfully investigate, we also gain a resource. So that's something else we're going to remember for later. And that essentially is it. That is our 3 actions. Now I could have gone after potentially one of the clues here, but with a shroud value of 4, I'm thinking that the risk would have been pretty high that I would have failed. This at least gives me the chance later on with a 3 and a +1 to potentially have a better shot at getting a clue from there. And I don't have any intellect boosting cards to use for their, in order to modify my check. So that's the end of the investigator phase. Now we're going to move to the enemy phase. There are still no enemies on the map with the hunter keyword. So of course the cultist, at least this one, doesn't have that. So we don't have to worry about that. And there's nothing engaged in terms of any enemies just yet. So that's nice. So we're going to set actions here. We're going to ready all exhausted cards. Nothing to do there. We get to draw a card and get a resource. So we'll flip this card over and we got the Old Book of Lore. This is going to be an exhaust the book of lore to choose an investigator at your location. That investigator searches the top 3 cards for a card and discards it, and draws it, and shuffles our remaining cards into his deck. So this is kind of essentially a smaller version of this Miskatonic University ability that allows you to draw 6 and add 1 to your. That one says add to your hand. This one says add to your top 3 cards of his deck. Her card draws it. Yeah, so it's essentially just a minor version of that. So it's handy, and I guess it does have a willpower boost there, so that would be good. I'm calling it willpower, but I'm sure it's called something else. No, it is called willpower in this game. Perfect. All right, so that's it. Oh, we got to take a resource. Don't want to forget about that. So we get one extra resource as well. And that is the end of the upkeep phase. We don't have 8 cards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so we're good. And that's the end of this round. So now we'll move right into the next round. Next round means another Doom token added to the track. So now we are at a total of 4. Things are getting dicey. We don't have to advance the Doom threshold as we haven't hit 6, but we are going to have to pull an encounter card now that we're over in Miskatonic University. What do we find? Oh my goodness, another Haunting Shadow. Now this is really bad because we don't have any clues to get rid of, and this option only allows us to do one or the other, and we're going to have to take another 2 damage. So this is bad because we are going to be hurting here. So I don't have a choice. I have to take 2 damage, so now I'm at a total of 4, sorry. But I think the first aid is going to become very useful here really quickly because although Roland does have a really high ability to take damage, and yes, I could put some of that damage on Mylan Christopher, but just so you guys are aware, once there's I put that 1 damage on him, his card is gone. So that's all he can suck up in terms of before he disappears. So I'm okay for now strategy-wise. I'm going to put it on Roland because I'm going to try to heal it off him, and I want to leave these cards in play. And I don't want to lose them just yet. Too early in the game for that. So that's the encounter phase. Now we're going to go ahead and take our 3 turns. So this is where we can try to do that healing. So first off, I'm going to grab the first aid supplies. This says use 3 supplies if first aid. Oh, sorry, of course, I have to pay my 2 resources to play this. Sorry. So I'll take my 2 resources out of my pool. And it says use 3 supplies. If first aid has no supplies, discard it. So essentially what happens is you use the 3 supplies as like a counter, and that's for your amount of uses that you're going to use it for. And then it says spend 1 supply as an action, heal 1 damage or horror from your investigator. So I have this on me now to use, and at this point, I think, is it worth it to use it right away? Probably. So I'll take 1 resource off. We're going to bandage ourselves up. We'll take 1 of the damage off that we got thrown at us our way. Now we only have 1 action left, and with that last action, I'm going to try to investigate. So I've got a 3. I've got a +1 thanks to Dr. Mylan Christopher, and we're going to go in the bag. Now the shroud value is 4, and I have nothing that I can add based on my cards in my hand in order to boost that. So it's really a 4-4 check right now, and I'm hoping that I get something that's going to even out, or at least not going to be a negative, hopefully. Here we go. Okay, that's not what we want to see. So that is a -2. So that is a failed investigative check, and that's it. That is the end of our turn. So the enemy's going to go. Hunter keyword's going to initiate. There are none, and we reset our actions. Ready all exhausted cards, and we get 1 card and a resource for the upkeep phase. Ooh, we got a flashlight. Talk about perfect timing. So we're in Miskatonic University, and we can actually spend this for 2 resources. And sorry for the focus there, but we can spend this for 2 resources, and we'll be able to get this in our supply, which will actually reduce the shroud value, which is exactly what we need in this situation. So we'll hold on to that. That's super handy. Although I'll just drop it on the floor. I promise you, I think it's a much better card than something that needs to be tossed. So here's 4, 5, oh my gosh, 5, 6, 7. So we're still under the limit, so that's good because 8's as much as we can have. We do get a resource as well, so now we're at 4. So that's good. Our resource pool is not so bad. And at this point, we go to the Mythos phase if we want to start the next round, which we might as well. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put another Doom on the track. Yikes, we're at 5 now, which is getting up there. The next round, we're going to be satisfying that threshold of 6, so that's nasty. We'll find out what happens with that. And then at this point now, we pull an encounter card from the top of the deck. Obscuring, oh no. What a nasty card to get right now, especially after getting that flashlight. So Obscuring Fog is a treachery card with a revelation. It says attach to your location, limit 1, and you're forced, after attached location successfully investigated, discard it. So this is going to boost the shroud value. As you can see, it gets +2. So this shroud value at Miskatonic University now is up to 6, which is ridiculously high. It's almost to the point where it may not be worth us hanging around there trying to go for those clues because it's going to slow us down and we're going to waste actions. So, you know, just the way things worked out, it might not be the best place to be, but at least it didn't hurt us, and that's a plus. So that's it. That is the end of the Mythos phase. So it's up to me as Roland Banks to decide what to do next. So we could heal in order to get another heal or another damage off of him, which wouldn't be bad. we also need to really focus on getting over to Ruth Turner. It might be a good idea to do that just so we can guarantee one cultist to start before this nasty agenda deck ticks over one more time. So I'm going to use my movement in order to get to St. Mary's University with the Ruth Turner. St. Mary's University now is going to unlock. So we have, of course, it's located in Arkham. It's Arkham's only hospital. St. Mary's has 24-hour receiving room and is busy at all hours of the night. Dr. Mortimer and Nurse Sharon have been particularly stressed lately, thanks to in part to the recent events. So things going on in Arkham are causing them grief, and they're working overtime. So flipping it over, unlocking. Shot value of 2, much better, although there's only 1 clue at the St. Mary's Hospital. We can, as an action, heal 3 damage, limit once per game. Hey, there you go, and look at that, we've got 3 damage. So talk about convenient. This is our answer in terms of not using any more of the first aids and getting a nice quick heal. So that's really cool. I also am going to put a clue down for that particular location as something we can potentially get. But again, Ruth Turner, being the cultist there, is our main focus. Now, being that we're at St. Mary's Hospital, and I don't know what's going to come out of the deck next, and we are going to have to deal with Ruth Turner and her attack when she does 1 damage based on the red symbol there against us when she's going to engage with us. I think it's a good idea to heal. So I'm going to spend one of my turns to essentially heal. I'm going to use that 1 time. So essentially this heal 3 damage limit once per game. I'm doing that right now. So that's going to take this away. We cannot use that again, but hey, that's a nice bonus. So now we're all healed up. And then our last action, we're actually going to take Ruth Turner here, and we're going to try to do a check against her in order to add her to our victory display. So we're going to try to evade her. That's all we have to do. We don't have to kill her or anything like that. We just got to evade her. Now, this is where things get nasty because I don't really have that many evasion cards, but I kind of do. So I have a 2 here, and in my hands I have a manual dexterity card, which would add 2 to my check in terms of agility, so that's not bad. I could also put the beat cop there, and I'm really spending a lot of cards by doing this. That would be another 1, so that would be 1, 2, 3, and I could also use my dodge card, which would be 4. So 4 on top of the 2 would give me 6, which is just one more than her 5. And maybe that's what I'm going to do. It's super risky. So I'm using all of those for my check to boost me up to 6. And now it just comes down to the Mythos bag and whether or not it's going to be in our favor. I really don't know how this is going to pan out. Because I've just completely given up all of my agility cards, as well as a few really good cards in that pile there. B-Cop I was hoping to get out at some point. So here we go. I really hope this works out because I don't have much of a chance with Roland's poor agility statistics. -1, we got it. Look at that. Holy, okay, so we ended up evading Ruth Turner because her evasion was 5, we got a 6, and again it says forced. After she's evaded, add her to your victory display. So awesome, guys, we got our very first cultist. Ruth Turner's been exposed. We've got her. We'll put her over here to the side to show that we've got her here. That's awesome. And that was our last action for the turn. That's great. So the next thing we're going to do is our enemy's turn for moving. There are none on the board still, so the whole enemy phase is null or moot, and we'll move to upkeep. So we're going to ready exhausted cards. We don't do that because we don't have any. We're going to go ahead and draw our resource and our card for the end of the round. Hey, things are looking up here for now. I say that, but probably will go south quick. Hey, that's good. That'll help us get a clue. So working a hunch will allow us to add 2 to our intellect check as well. You can use it as a fast card, play it only once, play only during your turn, discover 1 clue. So that's just like we can play this as a fast card. Now fast cards do not count as an action. So we can play it as a fast card, and that's why it's called fast. And we would just discover a clue, so we could just nab that St. Mary's Hospital clue, or we could even use it at Miskatonic University. We could like move there, nab that one, because that one's a hard one to get with the crazy shot value, and maybe just try to pick this one up through a regular check. That might be a good strategy to get 2 clues real fast. I think that's actually perfect. So we'll keep this card, of course, because that seems extremely useful and likely to help us out. So now we've got 5 cards in our tray. And I think after doing so, don't have 8 there, we are done. That is it. So we actually were able to pack, I think that was 3 rounds into this video, so that was pretty insane. But things are moving nicely, and surprisingly, I haven't pulled an enemy yet. Kind of thinking at some point here, like an enemy's gonna come out and just destroy us. But we will be moving into, in the next video, we'll be moving into, I guess this would be the 6th round, because or something. I don't know what round we're at now anymore. It's hard to keep track, but we're using essentially we're using these Mythos tokens to count our tracks. So we'll be going into the 6th round here next. So that's gonna be super exciting. We'll see what happens there. Likely some nasty stuff. But anyway, hope you guys are enjoying. Appreciate all the support. If you have any suggestions as to what I should do next, I'm going to release this video and I'll maybe leave it for a day or so, and then I'll let you guys give me some comments, feedback on what you think I should do next. So I'll give you a quick overview here. Roland Banks is healthy. He's got 5 resources. He's got 3 individuals with 2 first aid resources here left to use here. We do have the Graveyard still ready to be, oh, there we go. Graveyard and East Town and North Side haven't been touched yet in terms of to go to. Downtown either. We've unlocked Rivertown in your house, and we've already gathered up the clues that were there. We still have Miskatonic University here with a shroud value of 6 because the obscuring fog is there, so it makes it really tough to get those 2 clues. We've got Southside location still locked up, and then St. Mary's, we have 1 clue there. So I'm gonna leave it up to you guys as to what we should do as actions for the next video. So what I think we should do, just so you're aware of like what I'm thinking, is because that shroud value is so nasty, and there's two clues here, I'm thinking that working a hunch card is going to be coming real handy. We could try to investigate St. Mary's and get this clue, and then move over here, and then use the working a hunch card to get a clue, and bam, if we get lucky enough to get St. Mary's clue investigated in success right away, and we move, that's 2 actions, and then if we use working a hunch, that's 3, we would actually have 2 clues in 1 round, which would be able to allow us the next following round to reveal another cultist. So that's what I'm hoping I can do, but if you guys see a different path, please let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts and comments, and until the next video, guys, thanks for watching, and keep on rolling solo.